Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Stinkin' Sports. I'm your host, Nicholas Stinkin. And today, ironically, we're going to have more of a college football discussion as opposed to a pro football discussion because I feel like my opinions, the majority of the NFL teams have not changed and the games really spoke for themselves on Sunday as opposed to some of the college games. So I'd like to jump in and give my opinions on those as opposed to your normal NFL review content. So let's start off with some of the big games that I felt were worthy about talking about in college football. First, let's talk about the Friday night game, which I was excited for. BYU versus Boise State. Now, BYU proved their worth by blowing out Boise State 51-17. Junior quarterback Zach Wilson, who in my opinion should be winning the Heisman right now, had another amazing performance, going 22 for 28 with 360 yards and 3 touchdown passes. And the defense played well for BYU. I went to bed early. It wasn't even close. If they continue this amazing undefeated season and Cincinnati loses and Alabama remains undefeated, I think they deserve the fourth playoff spot in the BCS just the way they are playing. They're very exciting to watch. I feel like it would be a great shame if they left them out this year, just like they did UCF a couple years ago. Overall, though, an amazing performance by BYU. I'm excited to see how they finish off the season. Georgia took a season-ending loss basically to Florida on Saturday after a Stetson Bennett injury. It's really, truly not season-ending, but it ends the championship host for Georgia, which they have failed to complete ever since that heartbreaking second half loss to Alabama. And after their loss to Alabama a couple weeks ago, ironically, their chances of getting in were still sizable considering if they won, the East division of the SEC and went on to play Bama in the SEC championship game. However, because of that loss to Florida, they now fall. They now really struggle to get into that spot because Florida now needs to lose 2 games and they play no ranked opponents for the remainder of the year. So right now, Florida is going to be facing Alabama in the SEC championship game if all things stand still. Which really hurts Georgia fans, I'm sure. And I was really hoping to see Georgia give Alabama another run for their money. So it's a little disappointing, but I'm excited to see what Cal, Trask, and Florida can do. However, Georgia had a chance to win that game, but their backup quarterback, Dwan Mathis, was absolutely atrocious. He was horrible. 4-13 for 34 yards and 1 touchdown with 2 interceptions. He threw half of it. He threw 2 times as many completions to the offense as he did to the defense. He was horrible. He was incapable of driving Georgia down the field even slightly. He's extremely inaccurate, and Georgia had no chance with him whatsoever. And listen, I understand he's a backup for a reason, but Jesus Christ, he was absolutely atrocious. Like, I don't know how he made an SEC school as a quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't even talk about it. He looked absolutely horrible. Penn State got their ass beat on Saturday as 26-point favorites to Maryland. First off, fire James Franklin. That's pretty self-explanatory. And, just give up. Nobody cares anymore. You all suck. But seriously, though, absolutely, Clifford is incapable of running the most basic offense and throwing accurate passes and smart passes more than 50% of the time. Our secondary is disgusting. It's atrocious. And Tua's younger brother had an absolute field day against us. By the way, playing great. Excited to see how he finishes out the season. But the most embarrassing thing is that our left tackle, Rasheed Walker, was humping a Maryland player. What the hell was that? What was that? Are you serious? You're getting beat and you want to hump a Maryland player? What was that? What was that? That was absolutely the most saddened. That was the saddest I've ever been as a Penn State fan to see one of our players humping another grown man as he's lying on the ground. Dude, you're getting beat by Maryland. You were 26-point favorites. Lay the block and just wait for him to get up. Jesus. I mean, what are you gaining from that? What was that? Oh, my God. That was horrible. That was absolutely embarrassing. Whew. I'm going to try and cool down now. Indiana stays undefeated as the understandable Jim Harbaugh slander continues. Now listen, it is no doubt that Michigan football coach Jim Harbaugh has been an utter disappointment to the Michigan football program for the past 5 years since he signed in 2015. He has been incapable of winning a Big Ten title, let alone getting to one. Okay? But in the 5 years he's been there, he has yet to beat Ohio State and has a losing record against ranked opponents. And he's making $8 million a year. That is absolutely horrible. With all the talent Michigan pulls in, that is absolutely horrible. On the other side, but just to finish it off, I think he's going to be gone by the end of the year. He should have been gone by the end of last year. He hasn't done jack for that program. But on the other side, though, Indiana surprised me once again with an outstanding team victory against Michigan, beating them 38-21, boosting Indiana to actually first place in the Big Ten. In their division, the Big Ten East, which really surprises me. Just because if you would, they're tired of Ohio State. They're listed as number one, and I'm excited, to see how they play against Michigan State next Saturday. And Michael Penix, I'm still not very sold on. He had 20 incompletions on 50 pass attempts and threw 3 touchdowns. He didn't really have a great game, and I have nothing really against Indiana, but I do feel like Justin Fields and Ohio State are going to tear down the hype wall that they've built up in 2 weeks, considering Michigan State doesn't pull up an upset win on Saturday, which I think they are fully capable of doing. And now to the game that you've all been waiting for, probably if you watch college football, the game of the year in the NFL and college. Notre Dame upset Clemson. What a game. First off, DJ Uiagalelei, I think that's how you say his name. I'm still not sure. Played phenomenal. Absolutely amazing for Clemson as the backup freshman quarterback. In his second start, he showed amazing poise, made fantastic reads, and made some phenomenal throws. I was extremely impressed with the way he played. He is by no means the reason they lost that game. Just when Trevor Lawrence enters the draft this year, considering he does, Clemson is going to be in good hands with DJ Uiagalelei as the starter, presumably for the next couple of years. Now, Ian Book did his job on the Notre Dame side of the ball. However, the sophomore running back from Notre Dame, Kyron Williams, stole the show for the Notre Dame offense. He had 23 carries for 140 yards and 3 touchdowns. Both defenses played horrible. Clemson especially. I expected so much more from them. They were really banged up, granted, but still, I expected a lot more from Clemson. And Notre Dame, I sort of expected this, considering how they played a couple years ago against Alabama, I believe, in the BCS playoffs, how they got shut out. But, man, both defenses played horrible. It was by no means a defensive game, and by no means is it on Uiagalelei. As a matter of fact, it's on Travis Etienne for that mistake on the screen where he just completely took his eye off the ball, was a fumble or an interception, whatever you want to call it. I think it was a lateral, so they're going to call it a fumble, and a touchdown for Notre Dame. And Amari Rodgers' fumble really lost the game for Clemson, in my opinion. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say that Trevor Lawrence would have blown out Notre Dame, because I truly don't believe that. I really don't. The way Clemson's defense played and the way that they made some turnovers, I don't believe that. However, I feel like Trevor Lawrence would have given them a better chance to win. But by no means do I think this loss is on Uiagalelei. I think he played amazing. Clemson should have won that game. Notre Dame made the plays they needed to make. They made that great stop in the second overtime to really push him back on 4th and 24, gave him really no shot to make a play. And overall, I think I'm not going to say that Lawrence would have blown him out. I'm really not. I believe he would have possibly won that game. However, I'm not going to say he would have blown it out. However, I do think that that when Clemson gets back to full health and is in the ACC championship game, I would bet a fat buck that they are in the ACC championship game against Notre Dame. I think that their defense is going to show out. They're going to be hungry, healthy, and ready. Trevor Lawrence will be there. And I think they'll get the win. I don't know if it's going to be – I think it's going to be another good game. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm very surprised with the way Notre Dame played. And that was a great game, I got to say. Very entertaining. That was absolutely great football. That's what you live for to see during the fall in the NCAA, in the NFL. That's what it's all about. And you saw it on Saturday night. That's what a primetime game should be like. Not none of this Thursday night football BS like the Jets and the Broncos. That's garbage. But a great win by Notre Dame. They move now to the first place in the ACC and number 2 in the AP poll. So great job. But side note, I guess just COVID is done because Notre Dame fans rushed the field. And come on, man. No, nobody even tried to stop them. It really looked like looks extremely poor on the college, and especially there's an outbreak, they're going to get so much slander. It really looks bad for the Notre Dame college. However, I'm going to end this up. These couple games, these wrap-ups with my college football rankings. At number one, I have Bama. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. They're just going to move right on up after the Clemson loss. Number two, I have Notre Dame. Listen, they had a great win against number one. I'm going to bump up against Ohio State and give them at number two. I believe they are in the AP poll number two as well. So I do agree with that. At number three, I have Ohio State, who is also number three in the AP poll. Nothing different there. At number four, I have Clemson, also the same in the AP poll. My only difference is number five, I have Florida instead of A&M. I feel like Florida's just a better team than A&M. I'm not sold on Kellen Mond. I like Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts a lot more. So I'm going to have Florida at 5. Now moving on to the NFL, I'm not going to really go into depth in a lot of these games. I'm really not. I'm going to really breeze through this. So, because there's not much is new. I will start, though, because I am a football team fan. Alex Smith absolutely blew that game for Washington. He had 2 chances to at least tie the game in the final 5 minutes, and he blew that opportunity like no other, throwing 2 interceptions to lose the game. And it was extremely disappointing and upsetting to watch. And it also looked like he didn't give a damn for half of it, and it really pissed me off. I'm not even going to lie. And now the Giants sweep the series against Washington and move into second place in the division. So, I mean, it was a tough watch. The Jaguars failed on a 2-point conversion attempt on the last second to beat the Texans. Both those teams suck. The Texans' defense is horrible. J.J. Watt, listen, he's nowhere near as effective as he once was. I'm sorry, but the hype needs to stop with him. But the Texans did get the victory on Sunday. The Ravens defeated the Colts amidst an amazing performance by the Ravens defense and a great second half by Lamar Jackson. Listen, the Colts offense is absolutely atrocious. Phillip Rivers is not the answer. I'm sorry. Jonathan Taylor is a good back, but he needs some help around him. They need some wide receivers. They need a young quarterback. So I would expect possibly the Colts to draft a quarterback in this upcoming draft to replace Phillip Rivers, since considering he only did sign a 1-year deal. The Vikings, I'm going to talk about this game, beat the Lions behind an amazing game by Dalvin Cook once again, who had 22 attempts for 206 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That's 9.6 yards per carry. That's unbelievable. And now the Vikings are in the midst of the playoffs. They've really had a nice little roll here. They're now at 3 wins. And they have a big game coming up on Monday night against the Bears. And if you're a Vikings fan, you're holding your breath because Kirk Cousins has still yet to win a game on Monday Night Football. However, the Bears absolutely suck. I don't know how they were 5-1 at some point. But Dalvin Cook, I believe, has made his name into a top 3 MVP candidate this season. He's balling out. I mean, he's unstoppable right now. He's unstoppable. Dalvin Cook is a potential MVP right now, especially the way Russell Wilson is playing. So let's move to Russell Wilson and the Bills. The Bills handed the Seahawks their second loss in 3 weeks. The Seahawks defense is absolute garbage. Their secondary is atrocious. Jamal Adams didn't even play that great. The Saints are now looking like potential Super Bowl threats. And the Bucs, and honestly, I don't know. The NFC is such a mess. But Wilson had another lackluster game, honestly, because he probably thinks that he needs to score every time he touches the ball because his defense can't make a stop to save their lives. It's horrible. Man, the NFC is a mess. Moving on, I do have the Titans. They did bounce back against a weak Bears team. Listen, the Titans are really, hit or miss. It seems like week to week. It really wasn't an impressive win. It was really a boring game. They were in the lead for the majority of the game, and they kind of held it. And there was really no high score, no superstar in that game. But however, the Titans did bounce back to beat the Bears. The Chiefs did halt a Panthers upset behind an amazing performance by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Mahomes was 30 for 45 with 372 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Kelce had 10 receptions for a $154. Chiefs are absolutely great. They held it off the Panthers, last-second comeback and recovered the onside kick to hold on to that win. So Chiefs again remain at 1 loss in second place in the AFC. The Falcons beat the Broncos to rack up their 3rd win. The Raiders topped the Chargers in a dramatic overturn call in the last play. It was a drop. It was. I don't think there's any controversy about it, but it was a drop. And that was a great game. I'm very high on Derek Carr right now. He's making some amazing deep throws. And Josh Jacobs is looking like a top 5 running back in the league right now. I mean, he is just unbelievable. He's an absolute monster in the ground game for the Raiders. Amazing. Absolutely great. The Cardinals, and one of the most surprising things I've seen all year, fell short on a 49. Short. Yes, not like wide left or wide right. He fell short. Zane Gonzalez did on a 49-yard game-time field goal. The Dolphins are now on a 4-game win streak, and Tua had a really good game as in his sophomore start, throwing for 248 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, Dolphins are looking pretty deadly. They're looking like they can sneak into that playoffs. And Brian Flores, in my opinion, is coach of the year right now. He's turned this organization around from a disappointing last season, and even with Tua now starting, he's 2-0 with Tua, and I like what Flores is doing. So, Flores would probably be my coach of the year midway through the season. The Steelers avoided the upset through the Cowboys with the last play goal line stop. The Cowboys were at like 25, and they just threw it in the end zone. It was incomplete. Um, you know, that was really surprising. To see that the Cowboys almost upset the undefeated Steelers, and now with a lot of Steelers players on the COVID-19 reserve list, including Ben Roethlisberger, you can see the Bengals and Joe Burrow upset them on Sunday, considering those players are not allowed to play. Um, and finally, I'm going to end it off with one more in-depth and then just another headline. The Saints absolutely murdered Brady and the Buccaneers on Antonio Brown's first game back. I mean, the Buccaneers did 4 3-and-outs. 4 3-and-outs on their first 4 drives. They ran 12 offensive plays in the first quarter, I believe, which after that, it was over. It really was. They had no chance. Brady played horrendous, and the Saints dropped 31 in the first half compared to 0 by the Buccaneers, and could have done more had they wanted to. I mean, the Buccaneers defense looked awful, and Marshawn Lattimore continues to own Mike Evans, who did not have a reception on Sunday night, and has now not had a reception on Lattimore in 700 days. Lattimore owns Mike Evans. It is not even a question. Lattimore, you could argue now, is a top 5 cornerback in the league, and you know what? I may agree with you, because he locks up number ones. Lattimore is an absolute freak. Love that guy. And then the Patriots held off the Jets to an embarrassing loss on Monday night. I didn't watch that game. I didn't feel like it. And I was surprised to see that it was in that close. So I can't really give my analysis on that game. So I'm just going to move on to my power rankings. At number 10, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. They're playing really well. They've beaten the Chiefs. They're the only team to do so. So I think it gives them a little extra push. And they're in the hunt right now for a wild card spot. I believe they are in the playoff picture as of right now, but a lot can happen in the remaining 8 weeks that can alter that path. Number 9, I have the Buccaneers, who I had was extremely high on, and still really am. But man, that loss really just plummets them down to the bottom of this list. I mean, they looked horrible on Sunday night, just out of tune, bad. At number 8, I have the Titans. Not much to be said. Their defense really is bad. But Desmond King had a big game. Came up with that fumble recovery for the Bears on Sunday in his first game for the Titans against the Bears on his first game in the Titans uniform. Number 7, I have the Packers, who had a good win on Thursday night against a injured and weakened 49ers team. I'm still not very sold on the Packers because of their defense. However, I do believe they deserve the 7th spot considering what they did this week. Number 6, I have the Saints. They've really bounced up in the past couple of weeks. Let me tell you, I was not very sold on them, but they're starting to play like a team a little bit more. Their defense is starting to click on, as you can see on Sunday night. I'm still not sold on the Saints. I'm really not, but they do deserve a 6th spot. Number 5 is the Seahawks. You can really switch the Seahawks and the Saints with me right now. I'm really so confused with the NFC right now. I mean, the Seahawks defense is horrible, and I'm not sold on the Saints, so I don't know who to put, where to put who. You can disagree with you want. I may disagree myself after I make this video. So overall, I'm not sure who I would put ahead of who. Number 4, though, I do have the Ravens, who had a great game on Sunday, great team win, great second half. I think they're a good team. They're a very good defensive team. It's just Lamar and the wide receivers that really scare me, because Lamar still hasn't really come up in a big game. And, that was a big game on Sunday, but I mean like Chiefs and now the Steelers, who are now undefeated. So Thanksgiving should be a really big tell for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And I'm excited for that game. I really hope the Ravens pull off that win, because I am not sold on the Steelers at all. And I don't care for the Steelers really that much either. And that's a little biased, but I really don't feel like they're, I don't think they're the best team in the league. I really don't. And number 3, though, I do have the Bills, who had a great win against against Russell Wilson, the Seahawks, on Sunday. Listen, they bounced up to number 3 because of that. I'm not going to, they played amazing, absolutely amazing. Their defense is looking better, and they finally got a big win. So I'm going to reward them for that and put them at number 3. Number 2, I have the Chiefs, and number 1, I have the Steelers. Nothing changes there. All in all, thank you so much for watching. I tried a little different today, talked about some college football instead of some pros for the most part. If you didn't like the video, please consider liking and subscribing and ring that notification bell. I may be back tomorrow with a video. If not, I'll see you Thursday to discuss the Thursday night game, which I don't even know what it is. We'll figure it out. So until then, I'm out. Peace.